Do these words describe you? Laziness, unresponsiveness, lack of fulfillment, emotional numbness. I'm going to tell you how to identify the cause of apathy in your life and how to cure apathy once and for all. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you a secret that is going to help you cure that forever. Why do you feel apathetic? What's that coming from, right? Why are you feeling like numb, like you don't want to do shit, lethargic, like you're feeling nothing? Well, there could be many reasons, right? But the reason why you feel apathetic is because you've lost hope. Apathy is really giving up on yourself. It's giving up on your emotions, giving up on progress, At least when you're feeling sadness, you're feeling anger, you're feeling fear, at least then you have something to work towards. You have something some energy to fuel into taking action. But if you're feeling apathetic, it's very, very, very hard to move from nothing to something. Maybe you've been hurt in the past. You failed at something. And because of that, you don't want to repeat that failure. You don't want to repeat how you were feeling. So then you tell yourself, fuck it, I'm not going to feel anymore. It's basically saying that, personal intrinsic fulfillment is not worth it anymore, or personal intrinsic fulfillment is not possible anymore. In other words, happiness is not possible anymore, or feeling happy, feeling joyous, feeling connected, feeling love is not possible anymore. Whatever emotion, insert it here. And really, it's you losing that touch to your intrinsic goals, your intrinsic values. Basically, you're feeling apathetic because you're telling yourself, you know what, my goals right now, they don't have any value anymore, or there's no point in achieving them, or my values, there's no point in living them. And usually that comes from a traumatic experience, a traumatic series of events, right? Or even series of non-events. Let's say you don't get laid for an entire year. So that's a series of non-events where you tell yourself, you know what, I'm not destined to get laid, I'm not destined to get success, and then you just shut away everything and you become apathetic, right? So look at the events in your life, or look at the non-events, the lack of things in your life that is triggering that apathy. The reason why you become apathetic is basically you see the world as too complex to be dealt with, too difficult to be dealt with. You see the external environment as a threat to your identity, as a threat to you. And to guard yourself against it, the simplest thing to do is to retreat and to tell yourself, you know what, I'm not going to feel anymore. This is easier than having to confront the world, the hardships of the world, the challenges of the world. Go through fear, go through pain, go through frustrations to achieve your goals. That's a lot harder. So what do? You retreat back. You tell yourself, you know what? That shit, it'll take too much time. It'll be too complicated. It'll be too hard. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. And really what's driving it is fear and shame are like the biggest motivators, the biggest triggers of apathy. So the solution to solve that apathy, get the fuck out of there, is to diagnose yourself, self-diagnose. The first step is to identify the root cause. What's the cause of that apathy? Have you been running away from something recently? Was there an event in your life recently that you wanted to confront, but you were too afraid to do it? So then you told yourself, you know what, I'm not going to do it, doesn't matter. And then you try to convince yourself that you did not need that thing that you actually wanted. For example, beautiful woman, okay, you want to talk to her, but then you're too afraid to talk to her, and then maybe, she talks a lot with other coworkers at your job, whatever, and you tell yourself, you know what, she's probably already taken with one of them, she's probably already hooking up. No point in doing that. So then you retreat back into your shell. Doesn't matter, man. I mean, she's not that hot anyways. You're running away from fear, and instead of confronting that challenge in your life, you, as a consolation prize, not to feel sad, not to feel shame about it, you just numb yourself. Was there something in your life that happened recently? Maybe you lost someone, or maybe something very sad and traumatic happened to you. Maybe you had a breakup. Maybe your parents told you something that really triggered you, and then you just didn't want to see them again, and you kind of shut off from people. And you constantly feel bored and uninspired, right? Maybe you've been feeling that way for years. Then if that's the case, then maybe there's something several years ago. Like, you implanted some idea into your mind that you couldn't do something, that you couldn't achieve something, and you never gave yourself the chance. You never gave yourself the courage to do it. Life is full of so many things to do, so many things to achieve, so many challenges to overcome. I mean, how can you ever be bored of it? There's so much to do, so much to explore. But like one day, like I don't know when it was, but several years ago, you told yourself, you know what? I don't need to do any of this. I don't need to live my life. I don't need to push myself. And just that little shift that happened, maybe it was a long time ago. Maybe you don't even remember. Maybe it's just something you've always assumed about yourself, that you can't take action. You put yourself a glass ceiling. And because of that glass ceiling, you told yourself, I'm always going to reach that ceiling, so might as well never try. Because what's the point if I can't go past that ceiling? Maybe you have an identity that, you can only make $50,000 per month. If you make more than that, you're a rich asshole. I don't know. What are the limiting beliefs you assume? What are the things that you assumed a long time ago that could be stopping you? And by the way, the diagnosis, the identification of the root cause is really 90% of the cure. I remember me one time. I was driving back home from clubbing with a friend. We were going out, we went to do a lot of night game, we call it. And I remember I drove my friend back home, like, dude, I'm talking to people. I'm not feeling anything. I'm approaching girls. I'm not feeling the sexual tension. I'm not feeling that positive, confident sexual vibe with them. I'm not feeling it at all. And I really dug deep into myself, and I realized it's because I was afraid to be hurt. I reached a point in my journey, that was a few years ago, where I thought, you know what, never gonna have success again, fuck it. This is too hard, but fuck it, I gotta go out and do something. So I get rejected left and right, and I just totally numb myself to it. That just made me a robot. And of course, other women, other people sensed it, and that's why they rejected me. Then I identified that, like, fuck man, I'm just afraid to be hurt. I'm afraid to be rejected, to get rejected. So then, that was the root cause. And then from then on, I realized, you know what? I just gotta put myself out there. I gotta be more real with people. I gotta treat them like actual people. And I was back to it again. I was feeling it again. I was excited again. I was happy again. And yes, I was hurt again, but the hurt was worth the happiness, the fulfillment from it. So number one is identify the cause of your apathy. Number two is simple. Find solutions and act on them. It is a lot simpler than you think. It is incredibly simple. What's the root cause? Let's say the root cause of your apathy is that you snapped and you became angry at someone. Like, you screamed at your wife, you screamed at your children, you screamed at your brother, whatever, you screamed at your friend, and then they shamed you for it. They pointed a finger at it, and then after that you realized, you told yourself, I'm never gonna feel angry again, right? And then you kind of become apathetic. Instead, what you can do is like, you know what? I'm gonna tap into that anger. I'm gonna confront my fear of showing anger, showing my emotions, and do that artfully, So then that's traumatic as hell. That is really like, you know what? I showed my real self and that person rejected me. Instead of running away from that problem, you confront it again. You're like, okay, you know what? Maybe when I expressed that anger, I didn't express it the right way, but you know what? I'm gonna learn to express my anger the right way instead of running away from ever expressing anger ever again. Let's say you're afraid of socializing, you have social anxiety. So instead of talking to people and everything, you just hang out at your house, you watch Netflix by yourself. The cause of your apathy is social anxiety and retreating from it. What's the solution? It's the opposite. So you actually confront that social anxiety. It's very, very simple actually. You're really sad you had to break up with your ex-girlfriend. So then instead of confronting that sadness and diving into it, you realize, you know what, fuck it. Then you start drinking booze, alcohol, hanging out with friends and numbing yourself. Then you feel apathetic about everything. What's the solution to that? Instead of being apathetic, you confront that sadness. You confront that hurt. And you dive into it. And you cry. You cry for days. You cry for weeks. You cry for months. Until your body is out of tears. At the end of the tunnel, you will find joy. But you have to process that sadness first. Let's say you're afraid of saying your parents, I love you. Maybe you're afraid of telling your girlfriend that you love her. There's a girl you're seeing right now, and you're afraid to tell her that you love her. Maybe you've been fuck buddies for a while, but you actually really like that person. She really likes you, and you're afraid to tell her that you love her. So what you do is that you run away from that love. You run away from that deeper connection. You're afraid to be vulnerable, maybe because you were hurt in the past. So then you run away from that person and you become apathetic and you tell yourself, you know what? I mean, fuck buddy is good enough. You know, maybe you even run around circles, sleeping with a bunch of girls, a bunch of guys, and you tell, you know what, I don't want to, fuck that. Yeah, fuck that. I don't want a relationship anymore. So that's the root cause of your apathy. What's the solution? You confront that fear. Go up to that person and admit the truth. Admit how you've been feeling. Hey, you know what? I think you'd be a great companion for my life. I think you'd be a great person to spend a lot of time with. Maybe for the following months. I don't know. Maybe the following years. I don't know. And I see something bright with you in the future. Those are the two biggest things to do to cure your apathy. I'm going to give you additional steps if you just want to take it to the next level. So number 3 is simple. You inject novelty into your life. Right? What's the first baby step you can take in order to confront that root cause of apathy? Okay, let's say your fear of talking to people, like social anxiety. So it has to be something that you do on a recurring basis. Like trying to plan, let's say 3 events you're going to go through, different friends you're going to meet, friends of friends you're going to meet, be more social at work, like add some novelty, add something new in your life, even if it's uncomfortable. It could be something like exercise more. If you're in that apathetic state, you're in pain right now, you don't want to go through the pain of going to the gym, right? So you confront that, you go to the gym, like add some novelty, like move your body. So that's how you cure apathy. But the one thing I'm going to tell you, because maybe there are many things in your life, there's not just one thing, you have like 5 different things to confront and it's overwhelming to you. If you can't confront all of those things at once, at least start with that. Start with declaring war on your apathy. Right? Declare war on it. Be like, you know what? Apathy, I'm not going to let you stop me anymore. Apathy, I'm not going to let you take a hold of my life anymore. Apathy, I'm not going to let you take control over my future, over my career, over my relationships. I'm going to freaking handle this right now. Sometimes that's what you need to tell yourself. This is a bit more of the extreme approach, right? If the self-acceptance, self-love approach is not working for you, then declare war on it. Be like, fuck you, apathy. I'm going to wrestle with you until my death. I'm going to find fulfillment. I'm going to find happiness. And if I have to go through pain, sadness, anger, fear, frustration, loneliness to get to that happiness, I will fucking do it. And you will never stop me. Ever again. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You've been taking me by the horns, like stopping me from doing anything in life. You've been stifling me. You've been freaking paralyzing me. I'm totally fed up with you. I'd rather feel sad. I'd rather feel fear. I'd rather feel discomfort than sit with you another day in my freaking comfort zone. So I declare war on you, apathy. Because I want to say yes to my happiness. Yes to fulfillment. Yes to a life well lived. And the last thing you want to do is you want to find your life purpose. It's hard to feel apathetic when you really know what you want to do in life. You have your contribution in mind. You know, it's very important if you want to succeed in your life, you want to get out of apathy, whatever you want to get out of, that you get a weekly reminder, like a weekly dose of personal development. You know, personal development is a habit. You have to do it every single day, every single week. And if you forget, then all your progress you've made is going to go down the toilet bowl. So that's why I invite you to subscribe, click on the bell notification so you receive all my videos that I post every week. And don't forget to check out my free life purpose book here, really the cure all, end all, be all of apathy. With a life purpose, you'll never feel apathetic ever again. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.